All right, so I wasn't actually gonna, I wasn't planning on making any videos anytime soon, but this topic sort of caught hold in my mind, and I really want to talk about it because it's pretty frustrating for me. So here's the situation: Apple has made an interesting decision with the new iPhones, a decision that I, as a repair technician, fully disagree with. And it was highlighted in this video from today by Hugh Jeffries, where he has two brand new identical iPhone 12s, same capacities, like brand new out of the box, and he swaps the motherboards and they freak out. But most importantly, he swaps the camera modules and they stop working when they've been swapped. So then Louis Rossmann here makes a video talking about the whole situation, and he essentially gives Apple the benefit of the doubt, saying, "Oh, it might be a bug similar to because a couple years ago in like the iPhone 6s, people found out that the home button, which had a fingerprint sensor in it, couldn't be swapped out. The fingerprint sensor functionality was stopped working, and Apple said it was a security feature, and it came out that that was actually a bug. So he gave Apple the benefit of the doubt, saying that might be a bug. And then 30 minutes later, he releases a new video saying, "Oh no, wait, they did this on purpose. Apple went out of their way to make it so that if you replace the camera, among other things, in a new iPhone, that it must be reprogrammed on Apple's proprietary whatever to work with the new phone." And normally, this isn't the kind of thing that bugs me. Because normally stuff like this happens with stuff like batteries and screens, and what ends up happening with those batteries and screens is that they still actually work. um, to their spec for the most part. Like screens will stop having the True Tone functionality, which I've never seen anybody use, and batteries will just not give you their percentage, but they'll still work in a new phone with an annoying notification. The cameras outright just stop working for most modes, like portrait mode and time. I think time lapse. Uh, Video, I even like just regular camera functionality just stops working because Apple doesn't want it to work. And this is difficult for me because I even though I do repair and even though I know all the stupid stuff Apple does like this, I'm still an Apple customer. I still buy iPhones. In February, I bought the iPhone 11 because I had an iPhone 7 with a faulty audio IC, which has since then gotten fixed. Um, and so the reason I got the iPhone 11 was because I thought I wanted the wider screen and the larger screen, the real estate and all that, because the iPhone 7's sort of chunky chin and forehead were starting to bug me. So I went out and got an iPhone 11 because I was adamant about not getting this thing fixed, and it ended up not being what I wanted. It ended up being a phone that was too big, too heavy, and it's an LCD screen, so it didn't actually have kind of what I wanted in terms of screen tech. So then Apple comes out with the iPhone 12 lineup, and the phone that really catches my eye is the 12 mini. It's actually smaller than the iPhone 7 that I used to run every day. It's got all the new hardware, and it's got an OLED screen that's even higher resolution than even the iPhone 11. So it's going to be super sharp, super crisp. Like it's everything I want. It's small, and it's light. So it caught my eye, and it's their starting base model. It's not super cheap, but it's not uh, 12 Pro Max money, and it comes out next week on the 6th. And I was going to pre-order it. I was in the process of selling the iPhone 11 that I purchased in February, so I could get some money, so I could buy the 12 mini. But now I'm not so sure because why should I continue to support a company that does things like this actively to their consumers? Like, I love Apple products. I love their software and I love their hardware, but when they do things like this, they make it difficult for me to advocate for them. They make it difficult for me to even want to purchase their products because I've never had an issue with the iPhone 11, but I could have. It was entirely possible that throughout the lifespan of the iPhone 11 that I've specifically purchased, it could have been faulty in some way that was uncontrollable. Aside from a broken screen or something like that that I could have caused, it could have had some faulty chip or something on the motherboard that I couldn't have anticipated. And then what would my options be? I'd have to take it back to Apple. And the iPhone 11 is not too bad about stuff like cameras and stuff, but if imagine I get a 12 mini and then a month later the camera stop working, or the screen starts bugging out or something. Like, what are my options? Take it to Apple, have them charge me hundreds of dollars, or have to replace my phone without possibility of a backup? And for what? For a smaller phone? I could just buy a phone from someone else. So it's frustrating for me, and this is a lot of money too. This isn't an insignificant purchase. This is a big thing. This was something I was ready to put down a lot of money for, and now I kind of just can't. I don't know. It's not as cut and dry anymore. I can no longer guarantee for myself that for the entire lifespan of the product that it will work as intended. And at the end of the product's lifespan, I can't guarantee that I can get it back in working order. Why would I want to invest in something in a device that could spontaneously stop working at any moment and would be irreparable beyond my control? I don't know. I don't know if I should continue to support them like this. It's frustrating because I know that ethically that's the wrong thing to do. That's whoever at Apple decided that they needed to start organizing their hardware like this, and making it so that their hardware has to be physically programmed for each individual board. Whoever decided that is doing something unethical. They're going out of their way to make it more difficult for people to have devices that not only last longer, but that can be fixed when they stop working. Like, it's like when you get okay, because I'm a repair technician, and there's a lot of times where I'll get a MacBook or something, a laptop, that's clearly been worked on by someone else, and you can just tell that they've not done a good job. They stripped screws. They've further maybe on a data recovery, they further messed up the situation with the hard drive, something like that. And to me, and they'll charge the customer. They'll charge the customer to break it more than it was already broken when they first brought it in, and then we have to come in and pick up the pieces. And that's kind of how the entire repair industry is dealing with Apple right now. We Apple puts out the products with their loyal customer base, some of which are some of those customers which are repair people, and then the entire repair community has to pick up the pieces for Apple's constant pushback, and it's downright wasteful for there to be so many parts that just don't work. For there to be so many, there could be in 2 years' time, there could be thousands of chassis and screens and batteries and cameras and speakers and haptic motors and charge ports and uh, wireless charging coils, and they might just not work. I don't know if I can have a phone that can just do that to me. And I'm not saying that I can't live without a phone or something like or that I need X or Y phone to get by. I just mean in general. I don't want to spend upwards of seven, eight, $900 on a phone only for it to just stop. Like that's not when you buy any other piece of hardware for any piece of tech you can think of, you expect it to last and to do its job for essentially as long as the materials survive. When you buy a motherboard, you don't expect the VRM to blow up in 3 years and then for the chipset to just like die at the same time. Like that doesn't make any sense. You don't you don't buy a processor so that in 2 years one of the cores just stops working and now that's not how things are made. That's not how that's not how the people at the board partners in Intel and AMD, that's not how they make their products. There's a reason that uh, Intel processors from 20 years ago still work, even though they're old and they've long since passed the support period because they were just built well, and they just kind of kept chugging, and there was no proprietary anything. Everything just kind of worked together. And even iPhones from a couple of years ago, if you pick up an iPhone 5, you can replace that entire every single piece of that phone, and it'll still function exactly as it did from the factory. Even the iPhone 6, 6S, 7, so long as you keep a couple of things like the home button, it'll it'll work just fine. It'll work to spec. But you start getting into the 10S's and the 11s and now the 12s. It's like I can't replace a screen because now it'll freak out on me. I can't replace a battery because it'll freak out. I can't replace a camera because it'll freak out. That's that's frustrating. So I think I have some reevaluation to do. I think I need to maybe pull back on selling the phone, and I think I need to maybe look at some other options for new phones, or maybe just not buy a phone at all right now. Let the situation figure itself out. Um, but yeah, this is difficult for me to justify now, and in some ways, this is a design that could be obsolete in a year. There are rumors that Apple is moving towards uh, like a portless iPhone and stuff like that, and the more and more they do things like that, the more and more they leave behind any semblance of like humanity in their products, any semblance of real repairability. Um, so this has been kind of ranty. But yeah, I think the TLDR is sort of I'm frustrated that Apple it doesn't even have the decency to just sort of leave things as they are. I'm frustrated that they go out of their way um, to make it harder for repair people. And if I was more ignorant, I wouldn't even bat an eye at this. But because every single day, or because I'm a technician, because that's what I do, and that's how I sort of view technology. Like that's the lens I view technology under. I can't really let this go. I don't think I should let this go really, because I kind of could turn a blind eye and just buy the phone and just use it for what I want it to use it for, sure. But at the end of the day, I'm not helping the situation. And at the end of the day, I could be screwing myself over by making an informed decision on a product that I know might not last very long. So, yeah, and I want to make sure it's clear that this is not some like Apple planned obsolescence. This is Apple. This is not planned obsolescence. This is Apple going out of their way to make no one except them repair their stuff. Because they'll gladly fix your phone or replace your phone, but so long as you bring it to an Apple store or an Apple authorized service provider, not yourself at home with the internet and tools. Because for some reason, Apple thinks that uh, everyone sitting in their house is an absolute caveman, and they can't just open a device with some amount of delicacy. Like it's really not that hard um, to fix some of these things. And Apple tries to scare less informed people into thinking that it is that hard, and it's not. So I think I should hold off on this. Who knows? I might just let the look and the feel and the weight and whatever. I might just let that kind of slide for the sake of using the phone, but I don't know if I should. So yeah. Um, Moral of the story: don't buy a new iPhone. Thanks.